Hey guys, Nick Ritchie here. I just wanted to shoot this quick video called The Thought Process because a lot of us tend to feel like we're out of control of our lives. You know, we use words like, maybe you have used words like this in the past, like, I feel so out of control right now, I'm out of my mind, I've lost my mind, I feel like I'm gonna break. All these types of words are words that really describe the way that we're feeling. But there's a couple of steps that happen before we feel that way. And so what I want to share with you today in this really quick video, in this short video, is what actually goes on in your brain that makes you, or that has you feel that certain way. So at the end of this video, I want you to feel as though, the intention of this video is to feel as though you have a little bit more control, as though you have an understanding, and in that understanding, I am speaking to your conscious and your unconscious mind right now. That understanding is going to allow you to be able to have a bit more of a grip, a bit more of to see things more clearly, and to really be able to listen out for what's going on in your head, and to have a little bit more power over what's actually going on. So really simply, I'm going to draw a circle. Yeah, and that circle is called thought. Yeah, so that's really where we're starting at, is thought. And then I'm going to draw some circles here and some circles here and put a T inside each of them. And the reason being is that I'm going to create more of an abstract reasoning process here. So as I speak to you now and you'll listen to the sound of my voice, I'm sharing with you that I believe that all of us are more like an antenna, we're like a radio antenna, and so thoughts are constantly bubbling around the universe, and they're not limited to time or space or matter or solids, and that these thoughts are all around us, just like, you know, electricity and radio waves and electromagnetics and all these things are buzzing through the air right now. You can't see them with your naked eye, with your five senses. You can't listen out for them and you can't grasp them, but what you can do is you can turn on your radio and you can instantly tune in to that frequency in order to pick up that radio wave and listen to that music that you love to listen to. So the same goes for thoughts. This is the way that I personally view thoughts, is that they're floating around, they're happening everywhere, they're constantly blinking into existence, and as human beings we're constantly picking up these thoughts. And so the reason that there's T's, multiple little bubbles here, is that these are all little bubbles that are floating around. But the big bubble, the big circle, is actually that thought that you've picked up on, that you've decided, that you've chosen to focus on right now. And what's interesting is that for us as human beings, we have over 70,000 thoughts that go through our mind and body every single day. So I'm going to write that there, 70,000. And try not to be really messy here. What I'm going to add here for you to see there on the board is that if you have 70,000 thoughts flowing through your mind and body every single day, then why is it that sometimes you focus on thoughts that make you feel good and sometimes you focus on thoughts that make you feel bad? Why is it? Or is it the thoughts that make you feel bad, or how you perceive those thoughts? So our unconscious mind, as I speak to you now, your unconscious mind is actually absorbing 100% of the information that I share with you, because what's interesting is that everything that comes in through our five senses and gets converted into those electrical signals and then gets converted into our brain as meaning is happening all around us as we go through our experience day to day, even as you listen to me now. And so having your unconscious absorb all of this information and being able to communicate with your conscious mind in order to create a congruency of this information that I'm sharing with you here today is interesting for you and may create some breakthroughs or insights for you, because your unconscious mind actually controls 90% of your conscious actions. Did you know that? Your unconscious mind controls 90% of your conscious actions. So if you can create congruency and you can create a grasp, you can listen to that clearly and you can really picture it of how that would actually operate, bringing the two together into unison, that's where you create a really congruent human being. Somebody who sees one thing but feels the same versus someone who sees one thing but feels another way. That's what we call incongruency. If I say, I really love cats, but I don't like cats, at some level there's incongruency there because I'm saying one thing but I mean another. Yeah. So 90% of our unconscious controls our conscious actions. Yeah. So all of these 70,000 thoughts that are flowing through, you're choosing some of those thoughts. And so our unconscious thoughts are ones like when you're driving the car and if you got a manual car and you got a clutch, that is usually an unconscious reaction. Or your heartbeat. So your heart beating in your chest right now, you're not telling your heart, okay, beat now, beat now, beat now. But as you listen to me now, you can feel your heart beating in your chest. That's an unconscious thought. It's an unconscious process. Just like when you're walking down the street and your arms are moving to your side and your spine's supporting your back and you're able to walk upright. You're not thinking necessarily consciously about, okay, spine, stay stiff. Okay, abdominal muscles, hold me up. You're not thinking about, okay, left leg in front of the right leg. You're not thinking about any of these things because they're all unconscious thoughts. They're all happening in the background. But just keep in mind that 90% of your unconscious thoughts control most of your conscious decisions. The conscious decisions are the ones where I ask you, what did you have, what did you do yesterday? Do you want to go to the movies tonight? Your partner comes home and you say, how was your day? And they share with you how their day was. And then you make a decision to interpret that in a certain way. You go, oh, well, do I feel like having this for dinner, carrots, or do I feel like having pumpkin for dinner, right? So that's your conscious decision making. But what we have here, I'm going to draw another line here, yeah, is we have our thought. We have another circle, yeah, and then we'll create another line. Bear with me here, bear with me. And then another circle. And so here we have our filter. And inside here we have feelings and emotions. And down here we have behavior. And on this line, we have physiology. Yep. Okay, so let me share with you what this means. So, thought, you have a thought. Usually the unconscious thoughts are floating around all the time, and then you have a conscious thought. You focus on that thought. You get that thought, your awareness, your attention, and that thought enters the filter of your mind, yeah? And so the filter of your mind actually converts that thought into feelings or emotions in your body. So let me share with you a story that I was sharing with a client today, and that is Rosie is at the office. This was last week. She's at the office and happened to be Valentine's Day, and so with Valentine's Day showing up, what do most boyfriends do? Well, they, do certain things for their lady, for the special person in their lives. And so Rosie's at work, and then she's just been dating this guy pretty recently, not that long. And some roses show up at her work, and the delivery guy hands her the pen. She signs them off, and then all of a sudden she's so surprised. She's like, oh my God, I got some flowers. For a moment she's surprised. And then all of a sudden her state changes just like that. And she starts to cry, and she starts to feel these emotions, and these emotions building up inside her, and some tears start to come out of her eyes, and her workmates are looking around at each other going, what's going on here? Like, she got flowers. I would be so stoked and happy if my husband, my partner, decided to get me flowers. It means this. It means happiness. It means they appreciate me. It means they respect me. But for Rosie, it's completely different. For Rosie, what she didn't share, what her workmates don't know, is that there's a different meaning that she's placed on roses, that her filter is different to that of her workmates. For her workmates, their filter is that it means appreciation. It means, roses, the thought, yeah, I've got roses, it's a thought. The mind converts that thought into meaning, gives it meaning. So to the workmates, it's appreciation, love, affection, respect. I'm finally, you know, this person really loves me, yeah? But for Rosie, her filter is different. What she's done is she's converted this thought in her mind to a feeling, but before it became a feeling, her filter ran it through. And her filter was, and what I'll share with you now, is that 6 months ago, her love of her life, who she felt at the time was the love of her life, actually left her. And so she felt lost, but as that person left her, the day that he broke up with her, he gave her red roses. Yeah? So the meaning that she placed, and she didn't realize consciously that she had placed that meaning on getting the roses to be a meaning of loss. But the person broke up with her, gave her roses, I'm sorry I did this, I shouldn't have done this to you, I feel like I have to leave now. The person left, gave her roses, and so she placed a meaning on that. She placed a belief on that, and that belief was, well, getting roses means that XYZ, means loss, means sadness, means unhappiness, means loneliness. So that's completely different from her workmate's filter, right? Affection, love, connection, all these things. So if Rosie's filter is different, then her response is different, yeah? So the feelings that she feels as a result of that thought going through her filter, through her mind, ends up with her feeling upset. She cried, she ended up going to the bathroom and finishing work early, all because she got some roses delivered by a new boyfriend. And later on that night, her new boyfriend was like, hey, what did you think of the roses? And she was like really upset, and he's going, I don't understand. So this is why it's really important to have tolerance, compassion, and understanding for the people in our lives, because we all have different filters. And let me share this with you as I speak to you now, is that not one person in this world has the same filter. Yeah? So everyone has a completely different filter. The billions of people on this planet have a completely different filter than you or I. Just like you have a different filter to me. Interestingly enough, it's somehow we all manage to communicate and operate somehow without, you know, everybody falling apart, yeah? So our filter is different. For Rosie, it was different to her workmates. For Rosie, the thought entered her head of getting roses, a surprise, and all of a sudden the roses meant this when they went through her filter. But then after that, after she felt the feelings or emotions, she went through the next step, which is her physiology. Just now her body is expressing the emotions that she felt, the feelings that she felt. Now, how did her body express those emotions? Her face flushed, it went really red, she had tears coming out of her eyes, she made sound, she was crying, and you could hear her weeping. Her hands started shaking a little bit, she felt pretty sick in her stomach. I don't know if you've ever felt that way or if you've ever had that experience. She started writing pictures in her head. They started coming up of people leaving her and her current boyfriend leaving her, and she felt despair. And so all of this showed up in her physiology, and that resulted in a behavior. The behavior was she told her workmates that she had to leave. Her behavior was that she went to the bathroom, and then she subsequently came out of the bathroom after crying, which is another behavior. She verbally told her boss that she had to go home. She didn't feel well, which she didn't. She felt sick. This was psychologically created by that thought. And then she went home, and subsequent behaviors after that, yeah? So I hope that sharing this with you has kind of opened your mind a little bit as I speak to you now and I share this information, and your conscious mind is able to link with your unconscious mind, and as I speak to you, you're able to have a congruency between your unconscious and your conscious, so that your conscious mind is speaking your unconscious and your unconscious is speaking your conscious, so that there's congruency with the information that I share with you here today. And I only break this down for you just to open up that you're actually in complete control of which thoughts you decide to choose from day to day, moment to moment. 70,000 thoughts, but you are the one who decides where you place your attention on which thoughts you really want to focus on which thoughts, would that be the positive ones or the negative ones? Sure, they're always there, just like with me personally. However, we can create habits over time where we decide to focus more on the positives or more on the negatives, of the glass half full or half empty. So it's up to you. But just that awareness around knowing that you can decide to focus on this thought or this thought and then bring it into your conscious awareness here, and then as it goes through your filter and as things change meanings for you, depending on whether you change your filter and then subsequently your feelings or emotions change as a result. So wrapping up this video, you have the ability to change, to decide, to choose which thoughts you focus on. You have the ability to also alter your filter and the way that you're experiencing something. So later on, Rosie actually decided to work with a coach. She found a mentor, and that mentor actually helped her to see why she was responding to the roses the way that she was, and why there were certain times when she felt ways that she didn't understand, that she couldn't explain, that she couldn't verbalize or communicate to other people because she just didn't understand why she was having this reaction in the first place. So you can change your filter in the way that you're responding. Later on, Rosie found that she could receive roses from her boyfriend who had great intentions, and that she felt really good about it. So eventually you can change the way you look at things, and when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, yeah? So keep that in mind. You can change your reality by changing what you're focusing on, or you can change the way that you see things. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to share it if you have. In the meantime, before this video gets placed into the archive, into part of the program, and I'll catch you really soon. Nick Ritchie, feel free to check out the website, nickritchielive.com, or subscribe to the YouTube channel while you can. I'll catch you soon. See ya.